The wintry white stuff has arrived. Good evening. This is CTV News. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Patricia Vallone. Thank you for joining us. Well, a nor'easter that continues to move up the East Coast through early Thursday is impacting Thanksgiving Day travel. A winter weather advisory is in effect across the D.C. area today. Accumulation could total between 2 to 4 inches in certain areas, which means if you plan to drive out of town for the holiday, your commute could be affected. Rochelle Metzger is standing by with more.
Today is projected to be the busiest travel day of the entire year, and this wintry mix of heavy rain and wet snow in the forecast is sure to only add to delays already expected to be significant. The State Highway Administration says if you're driving to your holiday destination, expect backups on all major roadways, 301, 95, 495, and 270, and even congestion on secondary roads, as local motorists attempt to avoid traffic by using alternative routes, typically less traveled. While pavement temperatures are still hovering above freezing, road conditions could still be slippery and difficult to navigate. Motorists will need to slow down, pay close attention to forecasts, and adjust plans if necessary. State Highway is suspending all planned lane closures until Monday. Crews are ready to roll statewide to plow and apply salt if needed. The agency is also adding extra traffic patrols, which will operate 24/7 in the metro areas to assist stranded motorists and manage roadway incidents. Prince George's public works officials say they too are monitoring storm conditions. They expect the north and west parts of the county to be the hardest hit. They have trucks on standby to plow and salt if needed. But drivers need to do their parts to stay safe. If your wipers are on, that means your low beam should be on too. You need to watch your speed and, of course, buckle your seatbelts. Reporting in New Carrollton, I'm Rochelle Metzger, CTV News.
Meantime, Pepco has repair crews ready to respond to reported power outages, and its call center is staffed to handle additional customer call volumes. Customers can report outages or downed wires at pepco.com or by calling 1-877-PEPCO-62. Well, a New York man is a living testimony of how dangerous the weather conditions are. Take a look at this. The driver says he was heading to his sister's home in North Carolina for the holiday when his car swerved off an exit ramp heading to the Beltway.
I'm getting off the exit here, and all of a sudden the car went into a slid. And it came off the road here and slammed into the tree.
The motorist who suffered a minor injury says he's not letting the accident ruin his Thanksgiving. He plans to stay at a local hotel overnight, then continue heading south tomorrow morning. Meantime, in an unrelated incident, authorities are investigating a building collapse in Upper Marlboro. Officials say a portion of a sidewall collapsed at a 2-story structure this morning in the 14,000 block of Main Street. There were no injuries, but 2 adjacent buildings were evacuated. It's unclear whether the incident is weather-related.
And local protesters have been peaceful in the metro area, but in Ferguson, 44 arrests made last night. Now, 2 days after the nation learned that police officer Darren Wilson won't face criminal charges in the shooting death of unarmed teenager Michael Brown, many roadways were shut down, activists taking to the streets chanting Mike Brown. At Bowie State University, students marched to the shopping center near the school to show their support for Ferguson protesters.
Okay, with Trayvon Martin, there wasn't, witnesses. So we only knew that it was between Trayvon and George. But with Mike Brown, we had media, we had different eyewitness accounts. We had his friend who was there with him at the time. So I had certain hope that we were going to have a different outcome about it. And for it to be the same outcome, I'm really hurt about it. And of course, social media last night, everybody had their own different opinions to say, but I did talk to one white boy in my mentions. I was telling him it's a lot harder to be me than it is to be you. And he responded, and he said, I feel like, I understand where you're coming from because, if this keeps happening, there's a loss in sense of security and you don't feel protected. And I'm like, the people who are trained to protect me also will kill me. So I've never had a sense of security.
And in an exclusive interview with Good Morning America, Wilson says that he was fighting for his life when he shot Michael Brown. And as demonstrations continue across the country protesting the grand jury decision in Ferguson, Governor-elect Larry Hogan has weighed in. At a news conference yesterday to introduce members of his transition team, Hogan told reporters that the decision in Ferguson, quote, doesn't really impact Maryland, unquote, even though there were demonstrations in the state.
Well, first of all, it's not my place to second guess a grand jury decision, especially one that didn't even take place in our state. None of us are privy to all the information that was available to those folks that served on that during those secret proceedings and looked at all the evidence. It's obviously an issue that's enraged some folks on one side of the aisle. It's a controversial decision, but I think we have a criminal justice system. We're a nation of laws. The grand jury reviewed the evidence and they made a decision.
Meantime, that decision continues to resonate with Marylanders. Members of the Prince George's NAACP are heading to Ferguson this weekend for a 7-day, 120-mile march to the state capitol.
Greenbelt police are searching for 2 suspects who shot a man at an apartment complex parking lot. The incident happened about 7:30 last night in the 7800 block of Mandan Road. Police say they arrived at the scene and found the victim suffering from gunshot wounds. He was transported to an area hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Both suspects are described as males in their 20s, about 5 feet 10 inches tall, and weighing about 180 pounds. Anyone with information is asked to contact Greenbelt Police. You are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone.
And I'm Byron Scott.